Hey there, welcome to Wyckoff Technical Analysis session for Aave. Is Aave heading towards a rebound, or is that already over and that it's time for it to come down to the new accumulation cycle? So let's answer this together by looking at the charts over here. This is the weekly chart of Aave, and that we previously put down the question, was this a second test or is it still heading towards the upthrust? While the price still is being traded within this upward channel, this yellow box over here, is getting a little bit worrying for the bulls that the price has been kept rejected below this key level of 315. You see this long wick over here. There's quite a bit of selling, pushing the price back to below this 315 level. That's why I say it's not optimistic for the bulls, because if that's the case, that the price has finished is this up run, that means that's only a second test after the buying climax. So the second test, let's put it this way. And then eventually we'll see some sign of like last point of supply and some sign of weakness that's at around the same level as what happened back in February, around this green key level of 240. And we don't know how far or how deep it would go. There's a potential for it to return to this long-term playground from this white box over here. That's the I would say medium mild negative scenario. The absolute negative scenario is going back all the way to around 80. So that's where the price has been all the way from 2022 to mid 2024. Totally 2 years. That's the range the accumulation happens. So this one over here, technically speaking, it may have touched the accumulation. Just that it rebounded too quickly, I don't really consider it an accumulation over here, because it's just too short to be considered that. Some people would say, why not? It can be very short, and then now we are seeing an actual buying climax that's for like a second distribution cycle. That can be the case, but I'm more inclined towards that it is still the same cycle and it hasn't re-entered any accumulation as of this moment. So that's the big picture. The volume themselves, this week isn't too crazy, but still this long wick over here is where I'm worrying about for the bulls. So daily chart. Daily here, after the upthrust of the distribution, the price slowly climbed down and showed us an LPSY over here. However, it's still trying to stay above this upward trend line, which is interesting. However, if we look closer, we're seeing the price entering this mini triangle. So if the next 2 days, max 3 days, is going to trade within this very narrow range, eventually it has to happen in a way to tell us, is it going to climb above the blue line and trade above the yellow dashed line again to retest the purple key level. If that's not the case, where if this is an upthrust after distribution and there's no strong peak after that, this yellow dashed line may not hold any longer, and eventually the price will come down, potentially breaking below the yellow box outside of this yellow upward channel, and eventually come down to the green key level. The green key level where the sign of weakness back in beginning of August was. So this may be a more possible scenario than going upward and challenge the top again. Basically because of what I said, plus what we see over here in the weekly chart, the resistance up there seems to be quite high at the moment, and there's no sign of positivity for 2 consecutive weeks plus this key level rejection at 315. So be careful what comes next, as the price may break outside of the upward channel. If that happens, that bottom edge would become a resistant line, meaning any potential rebound will be rejected at that level, and it's going to take longer to show us the Upthrust Aave is going to go past 360. That's the positive scenario. The more likely scenario is for it to come outside the upward trend box and maybe eventually come down for new accumulation. So all these are based on the assumption that there's no crazily positive news coming out for Aave. If it does, then obviously it can shoot through the roof and immediately show us an upthrust within a week. So that's all for